While, of course, the strong winds have been focused across England and Wales, it's been the snow that's been the story across more northern areas of Scotland. Thanks for clicking on to the Sunday edition of Vogan's European Outlook from a rather dark and blustery Portsmouth here. Temperatures quite mild, and I know the temperatures coming up quite widely into double figures this morning as we see the approach of the next weather system. But yeah, skies cleared out during Saturday to present a nice satellite image captured by NASA of the snow cover across much of Scotland, away from the coast, away from the central belt. We've got some pretty decent snow on the ground at the moment here, and we are going to see more snow as we go forward here. But certainly today is going to be another day like yesterday of some pretty strong winds coming in from the west. We've got another approaching area of low pressure, a pretty deep feature at that across just the south of Iceland. That system will bodily come down over Scotland during the latter half of today, and we'll see another spell of gales or severe gales. We've got more spells of snow up over higher ground, and we are going to see strong winds of 60 to 70 miles per hour, quite widely actually around the British Isles coasts, and even 50 miles per hour inland here. We may see 80 mile per hour gusts on the north coast of Northern Ireland, for example, as we go forward. So let's play it through the loop. This is the ECMWF model here, the latest version. We've got some very heavy precipitation pushing through England and Wales in particular. The frontal system clears out. We've got a legacy of showers and very gusty winds as well. You notice here the feature is weakening somewhat as it pushes down over Scotland, but still a very formidable feature, and is expected to cause more disruption to travel as well as some local damage also here. So that system moves down through. We'll start to see snow activity coming right down towards sea level during the course of tonight as temperatures drop at or below freezing during the dark hours this evening here, and then we're left with a legacy of northerly winds for a period of time. Nothing particularly cold, but noteworthy in terms of the strength of the wind here. So it's going to be another gusty old day out there across the British Isles with heavy rain as well as snow. That snow, like I say, starting to transfer down to lower levels as we go forward here. The strength of the wind is going to be another noteworthy concern today, I think, as we go forward. You can see here as the system starts to make an approach on the UK here, we've got a core of 170 kilometre per hour winds, which is in excess of 100 miles per hour, and so that is certainly going to be a feature here. I think it looks as if the ECMWF is indicating the core of strongest winds will always remain offshore, which is of course a good thing. We don't want another spell of 100-mile-an-hour winds on the British coast, that's for sure. But certainly it will be very, very windy, especially during the second half of today. But throughout the day, it's going to be windy. It's gusty here in Portsmouth at the moment, and I expect to have a little bit of a choppy crossing over to Cannes this afternoon here. So I'm shooting this video actually at between 6:30 and 6:45. But by the time this is published, it's actually going to be this afternoon. But I want to get this done now because I'm not going to get the chance later on. So you can see here as the system moves down through into the UK, we're going to see the strongest winds generally along the Irish coastline here, the west coast of the Republic as well, in through the North Channel, across the Irish Sea as well. We're going to see gusts 60, 70, possibly 80 mile per hour. We also see them transferring down along the Wales coast through the Bristol Channel, and of course the areas that were red a couple of days ago with Storm Eunice. We've got the North Devon coast and along the north coast of Cornwall as well, susceptible to damaging winds through the course of today, and then that system eventually clears on out, and then as the week progresses next week, we are going to see more wind coming in from the west here with more systems coming in we'll have a look at the overview chart. You can see that here. So we've got the next system over the Atlantic. It's going to sweep a cold front across the UK during the early portion of Tuesday. Again, that's followed by colder air behind the front and snow coming down to lower levels, I think, as we go forward here. So it remains very, very unsettled here. This is on Wednesday, by the way. And what may happen is some of the models are indicating a dig of colder air with that system during Thursday that may bring snow even down to more southern portions of the British Isles here. Certainly yesterday, Lancashire, parts of Cumbria, and in through even Cheshire, high ground areas of the Greater Manchester area, south into the Midlands, was seen some fairly heavy snowfall during the course of yesterday here. Speaking of snowfall, let's have a look at the snow chart here, and you can see here as we go forward. So this is the current snow cover. Of course, you've seen the satellite image. You can see here that it kind of waxes and wanes. We've got an increase in snow cover during the early portion of Monday, as you can see here, even extending down through the Pennines, even through some of the upper portions of Wales as well. And then as we go forward here, you see that shrinking back with milder air coming in ahead of the next system. And then you can see the snow expand once again, particularly so kind of Wednesday into Thursday. You can see here quite a noticeable amount of snow seen by the model here. So we'll keep our eyes on that. Certainly, especially the further north you go, the greater the chance you have of some fairly decent snowfall still with this type of pattern. And well, looking at the winds from yesterday, actually quite interesting that we've still managed to see some pretty gusty winds. If I can try and get the right chart up for you, you can see here, this is actually the gusts of yesterday. So Needles Old Battery, of course, the very site that had a gust of 122 miles per hour back a couple of days ago, still talking about 90 plus mile per hour gusts here. Like I said in the previous video, a very exposed site on the western tip. It's up on a cliff. Very, very beautiful part of the world. In fact, I visited there last August, and amazing location, beautiful scenery in that, but very, very exposed indeed. Still 93 mile per hour here. Mumbles Head, another exposed site, 71. Pembury Sands, 69. Isle of Portland, another place that I visited last year. Again, very exposed sites, and I expect to see some pretty lively gusts in these various sites during the course of the next 24 hours or so as we go forward here. Let's have a look at the prospects then as we go forward now. The upcoming 5 days of the ECMWF, this is the 5-day increments here for 500 millibar height anomalies, and you can see the same story. High pressure to the south, low pressure to the north, westerly flow dominant here. As we go towards the 6 to 10, you can see here that we start to see the heights coming up somewhat, and it could be interesting to keep an eye on what's going on in North America, because we're going to start to see more ridging on the east coast of North America, the trough, the cold, perhaps retreating back towards the central and western portion of the continent there. That is going to have an influence on the jet stream. We may start to see a little bit of a reprieve from the very strong 150 to 210 mile per hour jet stream that we've had so dominant lately. That may start to ease, and certainly with the temperature profile adjusting over North America, you're going to start to see that response with the Atlantic jet stream may allow heights to start coming up. So we may start to see, as we go into the month of March, a little bit of a reprieve from the stormy pattern that we've had so dominant over recent times here across Western Europe here. So hopefully we'll start to settle things down as we go forward here. Looking at the 2 meter temperature anomaly here of the model, and you can see here, if we go back to day 1 to 5, you've got the exact same profile, warm across Europe. Northern Scotland is generally the only place apart from Scandinavia that is below normal temperature wise, and that's of course because we've got the areas of low pressure coming in and dragging in cold air with them. Certainly not really getting much in the way of cold across England and Wales because of the track of those systems. Then, of course, the 6 to 10 day, which takes us into the final days of February, into the early portion of March. Same story, warm across Europe here. Certainly, there is a significant absence in the lack of cold air really across Europe here. And even the 11 to 15, which is the period between the 2nd and the 7th of March, same story once again, as you can see here. Finally, I want to look at the stratosphere. Having looked at that in a couple of days now, and it's quite intriguing actually what some of the models are indicating here. Take this with a pinch of salt, but remember I alluded to about a week or so ago about the concern that I've got for a crummy period, second half of March into April, possibly even into May. Look at the significant warming at 10 HPA here, sweeps across the UK, across Europe, hooks around Asia, and actually it is indicating that we see somewhat of a stratospheric warming. Now, of course, you do expect to see the stratosphere weakening at this time of the year, but look at that there. That could, if it was to become more of a trend in the model, yeah, my hunch would be that maybe we would have a bit of a cold, second half of March and into the month of May, April, possibly even May. So we'll keep our eyes on this as we go forward, folks, in terms of the spring pattern. So I think I've spoken enough this morning here. By the time, like I say, this is published, it's going to be the afternoon time. Hope you're enjoying your weekend, and if I'm not back tomorrow, I'll be back on Tuesday with more. Hope you have a great Sunday. Bye for now.